You're listening to You Don't Have to Be Crazy, a 10-minute payroll podcast from Payslip. And this is part 3 of my conversation with Hannah Hunady, Global Payroll Leader and current Director of the California Payroll Conference. Enjoy. How do you manage those inevitable stressful moments? Like, what are your go-to tips, processes, strategies? How do you control what sometimes is the uncontrollable?
Absolutely. There's a couple techniques that I've learned along the way. So if it's a particularly prickly or irritating email, write your response, walk away from it. Either let it sit for a couple hours, or if you're really livid about it, let it sit overnight. That person's not going to die today because realistically, you're probably not going to be able to solve the problem within the hours of the day that you have left anyway. And then that way reread your response and tinker it back to humanity. So that way you can actually elicit a positive response that actually gets the answers that you need to resolve their issue via email. In a call, it's okay to say, hey, I really appreciate that. I really hear what you're saying. I really hear that you're really passionate about this and that you're pretty peeved about this. Want to validate your feelings. In order for me to holistically and completely get you the answers that you're looking for, I'm going to need to take this back to, review myself or to my team. And that's a perfectly capable response. If somebody comes back and says, no, I need the answer now, I don't want to mislead you. I don't want to give you false information. Please allow me some time to digest and get back to you.
Nice. That's good advice for everyone. Combined with don't say no, right?
Exactly, right? Maybe not right now, but not no.
Okay, what's one thing about payroll and the job that you think people don't understand or maybe people have a misconception about?
I have a very strong feeling that there are so many people, especially like C-suite, that's like, oh, it's so easy to change payroll because all you do is push a button. Oh, really? What do I do for the rest of the 39 hours per work week or whatever work week you have for the rest of the country? No, there's so many levels of elements. It is an intricate and delicate dance just to get that net payroll out the door with as close to 100% accuracy as we can get, right? And then you add like the components of one-time payments, terms, new hires, and for each country we have different requirements that sometimes I'm just like, really? That's what this country is asking for in this time frame? Okay, sure. It's not a one-stop like, oh, here's this one solution. It's going to solve all your problems. That doesn't exist. It's a clever partnership internally and externally with lots of different solutions depending on your company size, because one size doesn't fit all, right? And just because it works really well for EMEA region may not work for APAC or LATAM, right? And then the Americas, the US, right? 50 different countries. We're here to keep you on your toes. Um, yeah, so it's just people really grossly underestimate the level of intricacies and the complexities that are payroll required to a certain degree. Yeah, you can lean on providers and outside intel, but sometimes you need to know the answer within 30 minutes, right? And so how do you enable your team and yourself to be prepared for that when it comes?
If payroll had a mascot, what would that mascot be? What's its name?
Oh my gosh. So it would be Rosie the Payroller, mostly because I'm sorry, lads that are payroll professionals. I apologize. You're going to have a lady mascot, but it's Rosie the Riveter, but Rosie the Payroller. Same arm structure and everything. I just love that concept of the fact that a population rallied together to fill the need for a country in times of desperation. Well, that's payroll on a day-to-day basis. People are flipping and doing all these tricks that you can't see. Yeah, we might be physically sitting in our seat, but we're doing backflips, we're doing somersaults, we're doing all these techniques behind the scenes just to get payroll out the door.
I love that. And also, I think, isn't the slogan that goes with the image, we can do it? It's something like that as well, which again, as a
Yes.
motto is a pretty good one for payroll. We can do it.
Might kill somebody's soul on the way, but we'll get it done. Not a problem. Small problem.
Okay, if payroll had a theme tune, what would it be?
Oh my God. So it's the Star Wars Imperial March. Dun, 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 dun. Because you never know what you're walking into. I start my day between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. And then who knows how the day goes. I try to end mid-afternoon my time, But sometimes that's just not what fate has in store for me. So it's kind of, arm your battle gear, start positive, right? We've got this, but see where it goes, how far we can go.
Yeah. Okay. And maybe some of the, like, if there are big Star Wars fans who are listening, can correct me on this, but my recollection of Star Wars is that it's all about balance in the Force as well. So maybe there's a good connection there with at the end of the month, if everything balances, we're okay. So maybe that's the connection. Maybe that's why Star Wars was in your mind for that.
Exactly, right? And I mean, I love folks that express themselves and feel confident to be able to express the sheer bitterness that payroll can bring. It is one of my favorite things when people find that I'm a comfortable place to do that because I truly relish in it. I love it. Don't disagree, but we got to move forward and we got to move forward positively because that's what people are going to react to and hear and partner with you on.
I feel like we could probably continue talking about payroll for hours, Hannah, but I guess we can't do that because we both got to get on with our day. But if you could automate one part of payroll forever, slash, if there was one job that you would happily never do again, what are we thinking?
Flux analysis at month end, quarter end, year over year end. I do not appreciate flux analysis. Yes, it's a very valid need for the business and it's great for stocks and it's great to understand trend analysis. Can be beneficial when you're looking to build your team and say like, hey, we've reached that point because of X, Y, and Z based upon the flux analysis. That is my personal demise, is my least favorite thing. So if there could be some automation around at least showing like highlights, right, month over month, these are the reasons for the deltas based upon this GL code, it would make that flux analysis process and even month end close so much faster and easier.
Okay, well, I've inadvertently happened upon some product research that I'll be able to pass on to our development team here as well. They'll probably tell me, Joe, we can do that already. I don't know. And then I'll be showing my lack of platform knowledge. So I could be getting myself in trouble, Hannah, but I will pass that on because it does sound like something that would be super useful. Okay, last question then. How would you sum up payroll and the world of payroll and life as a payroller in 3 words? What would they be?
I'm going to do four because one's just a connector. Life of great opportunity.
Wow. Well, I can't think of a better way to end our conversation. Hannah, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your payroll story and your experiences. If people in the industry want to connect with you, how can they do that? LinkedIn, I guess?
Yeah, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Feel free to send a message. I apologize in advance if it does take me a minute, because again, LinkedIn is a side hustle from the day to day. So please feel free to reach out. I may not know that answer. I may not know everything, but I'm certainly happy to help connect to the extent that I know connections.
Nice. And also, you want to give a plug for the California Payroll Conference? I know it's coming up later this year, October, right?
Yes, please. For those who are interested, we have an annual event in California. It's called the California Payroll Conference. We always work hard to ensure that RCHs are available for folks. It is welcome for newcomers, whether it's your first year or 40th year. We love to have you. We have varying topics. This year we've got a flair for the accounting and some total comp and reward conversations and topics that we're really excited, but we're also working on some other stuff as well. It is in Long Beach this year. You do not have to process California payroll to attend. You do not have to be a California resident to attend. It is all are welcome, and that is californiapayroll.org.
Amazing. Okay. Well, with that said, I'll say goodbye and talk to you next time. Bye.